indulge me for a minute or so. There is an anecdote I want to relate, and then we'll start off from there. So this is the 1996 World Cup between Australia and Sri Lanka, and it was played at Lahore. And Arjuna Ranatunga was the captain. He had a very interesting story to relate. He said before the final, both the teams were having breakfast. The Australians were all talked up. सब अपने उसमें किट में थे, सब बैठ के एक साथ खाना खा रहे थे. He looked for his team, Arjuna, and he couldn't find most of the players. So he was told that they are on the ground floor. What are they doing on the ground floor? So he went there and he saw them buying carpets. So they were haggling. कालीन खरीद रहे थे और वहां पे वो हैगल कर रहे थे, नेगोशिएट कर रहे थे. पहले तो रनाटुंगा को बड़ा गुस्सा आया. उसने कहा कि यार आज वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल है और आप कालीन खरीद रहे हैं. फिर उसको ये रियलाइज हुआ कि ये बंदे रिलैक्स्ड हैं, इनको क्या करना है इनको पहले से ही पता है, तो मैं क्यों मामला खराब करूं. और उनके हिसाब से वो खुद भी कालीन खरीदने की लाइन में लग गए. इंपॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि श्रीलंका वन दैट वर्ल्ड कप. सो व्हाट आर द लेसन्स फ्रॉम देयर? दैट अ टीम दैट इज कूल, calm, relaxed has a better chance instead of a team that is nervous, which is antsy, which is anxious. But I go on to two very good friends of mine, two domain experts, CS and Sandeep. CS, your opening thoughts. You are already smiling.
That was the last time Australia lost in the final.
कालीन नहीं खरीदा ना इसलिए.
But anyway, I think yes, it's important to be relaxed. It's important to be focused. And it's important to be not coming under any kind of pressure or whatsoever. You know, people will say a lot of things. You don't read newspapers during these times. I've spoken to so many players and, you know, coaches all around the world. They say on the day of the match or, you know, couple of days before that, we ask them not to read any newspaper because sometimes कुछ लोग कुछ लिखते हैं, कोई opinions होती है. So not to get, you know, distracted by these kind of things. Just focus on your game, go and play well. And hopefully आज India जिस तरह से खेल रहा है, for after 10 straight victories, there is no way that India could be, you know, under pressure.
तो आपकी prediction क्या है CS साहब?
my prediction is very difficult to change the team. But remember, the last time we defeated Australia in this particular tournament, there were 3 different phases. Ishan Kishan, he scored 0. Hardik Pandya, he remained not out on 14 or whatever. He also bowled. And third, Ravichandran Ashwin, the most economical bowler, 10 over 34 runs and probably 2 wickets or so. So there were 3 changes. Right now, there are 3 different phases.
Okay. Sandeep, coming to you, let's focus on some stats, interesting ones. So twice Australia has won the World Cup in 2003 and 2007, if I'm not wrong. And in both those occasions, they won all 11 matches back to back. If India wins this, it would somehow match that feat. It would also be a revenge for the way India were hammered in 2003 by Ricky Ponting's team. Saurav Ganguly was our captain and we lost by 9 wickets, and that still hurts India. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm the guy who never says, you know, I was there, but yeah, I was there in 2003. And I still remember, you know, the amount of tickets that were being sold and the amount of Indians who had flown in from all over the world just to watch that final. And then somehow everything just went wrong on that day because you had one single individual who actually took you apart. But there's also a memory from that day I just wanted to share that remains with me, is that I was at the ground, I think at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I very clearly remember there were instructions from you that, you know, subah jaake wahan pe we will do a down the line and you have to do some piece to camera. So, you know, I'm not a guy who goes at 7:30 a.m. to grounds, but I was there. And what do I see is Hayden at that time, you know, he was on the pitch in his socks, in his shorts, and only with a cricket bat, just onto the side of the pitch. And he was playing his shots. And I kept watching him for around 15, 20 minutes. He was there. But as we were all talking about anxiety and all of that, I think it's an emotional match. And at this point of time, whether you're the host or whether you're Australia, I think a lot of things come down to basically 50-50. it's very easy and a very cliched form to say that anybody who holds their nerve actually wins a final like this. But I think it's also good to go back to 2004, and I'm again picking up an example of football. Greece won the Euro football at that time. Complete outsider,
Yes.
went up the ladder, broke through the semi-finals, and very, very close encounters, 1-0, 2-1, those kind of stuff that they were doing. I think at this point of time, there is massive, massive pressure on India because it's not only cricket, it's not only those billions out there. I'm talking of the population, but it's also political in so many ways that you've got to win in Ahmedabad, you've got to win in front of the Prime Minister. I think sometimes 5 to 10 to 15% of these pressures get to you somehow, and it probably falls outside. I don't know if both of you can agree. Sometimes these pressures are non-cricketing pressures, and I hope the Indian cricket team doesn't fall for that, which is a non-cricketing pressure, and probably just buckles under this huge expectation. But looking at the team and how they have played, I still feel 10% to 15% of a close final will fall India's way.
ओके सीएस, एक सवाल है दर्शक की तरफ से, प्रशांत सिन्हा वो पूछ रहे हैं आपसे कि अश्विन को क्या खिलाना चाहिए सूर्य कुमार यादव की जगह? क्या कहेंगे?
देखो, there is a problem of sixth bowler. You have to understand. If Hardik is not there, obviously you have taken somebody else, Surya Kumar or anybody, or Shami came into Ashwin came for Ashwin. But problem is, if your five bowlers they don't do their duty well, then who is going to be the sixth bowler? And that's been a huge problem. And this wicket is going to be a slow turner. What we are hearing, this could be a new pitch, slow turner. So in that circumstances, in that scenario, obviously you need somebody. You can't experiment with Rohit or Virat, जो उस दिन आपने देखे थे Holland के against. You can't, bowl with them. So there will be temptation, but again, as I have said, they are not going to tinker with the playing 11 unless and until somebody is fit or somebody किसी को मार मूर के रात को बिठा दे तो अलग बात है. No way. I mean, there is no chances that there'll be any kind of changes.
सीएस, आप और मैं ये पिचेस के बारे में काफी कुछ बात कर चुके हैं इस शो पे. आपको बहुत जानकारी है कि किस टाइप का सॉइल यूज होता है, उसका क्या निकल के आता है, एक फ्रेश ट्रैक और लेट ट्रैक में क्या फर्क होता है. ये बताया जा रहा है अहमदाबाद में कि मोस्ट प्रोबेबली as per the latest information coming in, remains to be corroborated, it might be a new track, and they are saying that it is going to be a batter's paradise. A 300 plus total for a team batting first would be good. What are your thoughts on this pitch?
My God, Jai Shah must have, rolled it himself, I mean, what kind of majak is this, batter's paradise? कौन सी wicket batter's paradise नहीं थी पूरे matches में? Again, this is something, कुछ बोलना है तो बोल दिया जाए. Point is, it is going to be a 300 plus wicket. Whether or not, whether somebody like it or not, but the point is, all the bowlers are going for, some kind of hammering, and obviously, the bowlers who are going to take pressure. Last time, if you remember, first 2 wickets Hazelwood, then Stark, they destroyed Indian top order, and then came that great innings from Virat Kohli, and then also KL Rahul, 97 not out. He miscalculated that shot. So in a way, I think it's about handling pressure. Or last time, what Sandeep was saying about 2003 World Cup. Final in South Africa. I remember that controversy about the Scotch ball. Gilchrist was having problem with his grip, so they put Scotch, ball. Their coach suggested, and he put it. He got benefited and scored. Not scored. He butchered Indian attack, and that attack had Zahir Khan and Ashish Nehra. Believe me, that was one of the best attacks to me. 2 lefties that way.
Sandeep, you were there in the 2003 final, India versus Australia. India got hammered. Now, the experts are saying, and ironically, Ricky Ponting, who was the skipper then, is now in the comm box. But the experts are saying that this Australian side is not as good or compact or as talented as that side, point number 1. But 2, the point that CS is making, if India bat first and if their fast bowlers come in for the kill quickly, hypothetically speaking, and take, say, about 3 down or 4 down for 75, will India be in trouble?
We're looking at cricket down the ages. We are looking at cricket which was so different in 2003 and is so different now. I think you've got a T20 format which makes every player so much more adaptable. It probably doesn't boil down to the pitch, but yes, if you really look at the analysts, and they have been on and on since the last 2 days, win the toss and bat, win the toss and bat. I was just reading Ian Chappell also saying the same thing, win the toss and bat. Anil Kumble, win the toss and bat. But the question, it's not that easy. I mean, it's 300, 320, 350. For a side like Australia, it is chaseable. For a side like India, it is chaseable. Again, it's the same thing. I mean, how do you counter pressure? How do you counter pressure of a final at home? I still believe, as I said, Australia still holds a couple of aces with them, which is non-cricketing aces, which is basically of handling pressure. And as Cummins said in the press conference, that they would love to silence the crowd. And I think that silence comes when you're 3 down, 2 down, and suddenly wickets have fallen in a heap. And how do you counter that? Because of the IPL, I think more players are more adaptable to situations in a match. Whether it is 5 down, 6 down, 7 down, you can still come back. You see what Maxwell did, where situations were almost 99% in favor of Afghanistan. The same can happen here. But I think putting it down to just purely the toss is probably also saying that the sport is so easy that you can win a toss and win a match. I don't think Ahmedabad will see something like that win a toss and win a game. I think you will see a little more depth in this final. And hopefully, from the fans' perspective of 130,000 people out there, people like you and me who are going to watch it on television, and all those millions watching outside of this country, I think it's a match that would be fantastic if it goes down to the wire, which means the last over. But in a 50-over game, let's see how it pans out.
CS two
और
things.
एक और चीज अरूप सॉरी last match in Ahmedabad, initially there was no dew. In fact, Ahmedabad was the only place to start with where there was no dew. But in last 2 games also, there was in last game especially, there was heavy dew. So it's again catch-22 situation. You bat first, then you have to bowl second. Bowling second mean you have 2 spinners. Then again, gripping of ball will come into force, and also you don't have sixth bowler. Australia has sixth bowler, so India don't have. So again, there are these kind of things. So rather, I think it will be a great toss to lose to anybody. If you lose toss, obviously you are out of this thing. Whatever you are given or asked to, you'll do that. So I think it's a good toss to lose.
You agree, Sandeep?
Well, I mean, it's a catch-22 here, because at the end of the day, you always feel, if this goes wrong and that goes right. But maybe I can toss it back to both of you in a way that let's assume India win the toss. What are they going to do? Are they going to bat?
And again, I've said, if they bat, even put 350, 325, which is chaseable on this particular ground, it's a big ground also. You have to understand. People can take, batters can take 3 runs.
Yes, anything below 350 is chaseable now. I mean, you have to go 380, 375 plus to have any form of pressure. Because anybody who gets a 55, 65 probably brings the innings back. We saw it versus New Zealand in the semis. I mean, if Kane would have gone on, I'm saying if I'm using the word if with a lot of this thing, if they would have gone on for another 60, 70 runs, I think India would have panicked at that stage.
Definitely, I agree with this. Till 350, it's chaseable. It's psychologically also it's chaseable during this era of T20 games. But beyond 350, like 390 something, India scored against New Zealand. It was out of question. New Zealand did well. They played well. But the point was, once you lose that couple of wickets initially, then game is over for you. As far as, chasing anything beyond 370 or 380 type. But problem with this ground, as I was saying, is it's a huge ground. Australia has better chances of covering those in terms of fielding. उनको आदत है MCG की, उनको आदत है Gaba की, but India doesn't have these kind of grounds. So that also you have to keep it in mind.
Just one more point. I think for most of our batters, from 1 down to 6, I think the devil is within ourselves. I think that's the way we have played in this tournament. We have gone out, we've gone on to figure out those strokes. We've done fantastically well right from the openers down to number 6 and number 7. I think it's again, I mean, will Rohit change his stance? I don't think so. I hope he doesn't. He goes in the way he normally comes in. You know, he gets his 40s, gets his 50, and he sets it up, you know, because honestly, he doesn't look to be playing for 100 or for a 80 or for a 90. He's looking to be playing for a complete team effort out there. Not that the others don't. So coming back, I mean, back to that one little point, I think the devil is within the individual players themselves, how they adapt to that particular situation, and whether the same concept of what we have seen in this entire tournament, or rather the blueprint, whether the same blueprint will be there for the final is something that we will probably see in a few hours.
CS,
I
another point
agree with you.
come to you with is that on this Pakistani channel, there is this sports show which is being talked about as one of the best. Now that's open to debate, but one of the finest white ball players and former skipper, Shoaib Malik, made an interesting observation, and I watched that. He said that Australia will win this World Cup, and also another point was made that India has come against possibly the best and the toughest side in this tournament. What are your thoughts?
Whether Australia wins it or not, again, I think a lot will depend on who will take the pressure well. But yes, India has shown to the world that this is not the same old team, you know, which used to crumble under pressure, which used to take a lot of, you know, outside things, also pressure while playing. This team is very fierce, you know, fearless team. This team is all about playing as a unit, and that is why Sandeep was also saying whether Rohit will continue his role of, you know, opening it up for the others. Yes, I agree for you know, with Rohit or team management, that he's the one guy who has changed the entire scenario. Now Rohit is taking pressure for almost everyone. He may be good captain or a bad captain. His field setting could be anything. But the point is he has taken everybody's pressure. Number one. That allows Virat Kohli to stay even little bit more calmer and take his time, you know, while playing. Virat Kohli doesn't have to come and straight away go bang, 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 you know. Virat is taking his time. He's building the innings. He's also letting others to express themselves. And that's how Rahul, you know, Shubman, everybody is coming and playing their, you know, natural games. And they all are stroke makers. You have to understand this. There are two players who could build the innings. That is Rohit and Virat. They are doing their duty perfectly. Rohit has changed his, you know, his role little bit. And that's how he has sacrificed his hundreds also. At least 2 times he was in such a good form or such a good nick that he could have gone for 100. But he has
मैं
sacrificed.
आप लोगों को थोड़ा सा बीच-बीच में काटता रहूंगा. आज कई सवाल आ रहे हैं, तो चांदना सिंह पूछना चाहती हैं, do you think pressure will play any role as India will have more today and Aussies will play freely? मतलब वो ये कहना चाहती हैं, पूछना चाहती हैं कि इंडिया पे प्रेशर ज्यादा होगा. क्या सोचते हैं आप?
Believe me, Arup, ये तो प्लेयर्स हैं. आप एज ए जर्नलिस्ट स्टेडियम में खड़ा हो, एमसीजी हो, कोलकाता हो, आई हैव सीन दैट, एंड हाउसफुल पैक्ड हो, you know, that Boxing Day test or maybe, you know, some other final or semi-final World Cup. Believe me, pressure जर्नलिस्ट पे भी काम करता है. रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं उस क्राउड को देखकर, उस रश को देख के, उस मैक्सिकन वेव को देख करके. सो दे आर प्लेयर्स, दे आर ह्यूमंस. सब पे प्रेशर होता है, लेकिन यस, इनिशियल प्रेशर होता है. वंस यू गेट इनटू द, you know, business of playing your own game or inside, then it doesn't matter. तब वो थोड़ा बहुत कभी catches में होता है, you are on the field, suddenly catch आया, and especially if you are a opponent, और आपके पीछे 10,000 लोग शोर मचाना शुरू कर देते हैं, then you know, little bit pressure work करता है, but otherwise, but believe me, to start with, pressure has lot to do.
Sandeep, there is an important comment which came in from former England captain Nasser Hussain, who's here in the comm box, and according to me, one of the finest commentators in the business today. So he was asked about the Indian team, about Shami, about some of the other star players, and he says, for me, there is only one star, which is Rohit Sharma. And he said that after the 2019 debacle, where we lost to the Kiwis in the semi-final, he told Dinesh Karthik कि मुझे इस टीम को ठीक करना है, ये टीम ठीक नहीं है. and he made some structural changes. So according to Nasser, it is that, and that is exactly the point CS is also making, that Rohit Sharma is the hero of the pack. Of course, you need some very fine players around you, that's a given. But what, according to you, are those structural changes? Is it a mindset? Is it man management? What is it?
I think for Rohit, I mean, if you look at his press conference, the way he said that, yes, there is pressure, there is excitement, but I'm not getting too much into it. I think sometimes, what flows out from the captain also seeps into the team, and we see this in every international sport. The captain not only has a job of scoring, and when he came in as captain and Virat had gone out, there was also, and there's division which CS would completely agree, I think, on this point. There's division also media wise on picking up Virat and trying to compare him with Rohit. All of that does get into your psyche. You are a human being, as CS is saying, at the end of the day, 130,000 people out there, you do feel that pressure. And I think Rohit, with his inner calmness, and honestly, I don't know Rohit as a person, so I don't know the inner calmness, what I see, what I read, and what I see on TV, what I can make of what is happening. That's how we make of players. And I think that inner calmness, in a way, he has profited from it. He's not the guy. I mean, let's look at it from a very different angle. Captain, a great batter, probably, arguably, one of the greatest batters of all time. When he looks at his scoreline, he doesn't see too many high scores out there. Now, that is also pressure. बाकी स्कोर कर रहे हैं और मैं नहीं कर रहा हूं तो मैं क्यों नहीं टिक के खेलूं थोड़ा सा I think for him to take on this particular role and say I lead from the front, as CS also says, I think that kind of dust also falls down on the other players, that if my captain is going to lead from the front, go on the highest stroke, go and do something out there, set it up for us. That probably, I think, is the Rohit that India is following now. That, if he can do it, why can't we do it? Let's pick it up. Let's pick up the mantle that he's thrown on the ground. That, guys, the team is first, not individuals. And I think if the team is today going to win the World Cup and in the final, I think it is that team effort that we are seeing after a long, long time.
Okay, there's a quick question coming in which says that, do you think Rohit Sharma will take retirement if India wins? What do you think, Sandeep?
half of the team will retire.
I think people love to go out on top, but yeah, come on. I mean, Rohit has so much left in him, honestly. And I think a World Cup just might spur him on. Probably he'll take a couple of months off, stop jogging, stop doing all those things that he has been forced to do. Just sit, relax, eat, do whatever he wants, and then come back. But yeah, he shouldn't go right now.
CS, regarding the Aussies, I have one important point to discuss with you, which is their captaincy. Pat Cummins is the captain, and he has come in for quite a bit of criticism from the Australian media. They felt in between he was just the wrong man. He was falling apart. And why not Steve Smith? Why not David Warner? Of course, Warner is heading for retirement, but they say that there are much better people, far better equipped. What do you think?
Well, when he was given this task of leading the team, even that time there were a lot of controversy. But I think he has shown his character. He's a very tough nut. He's a very, very competitive bowler. He's a good leader to me. But again, these things will keep happening. Obviously, if you lose, there'll be even more controversies. If he wins, all this will stop, and he'll be regarded as one of the finest. But again, this is cricket, as we all know. And Pat Cummins, to me, is a good example. He's a good leader. As a batter also, he has won matches for Australia. Don't forget this. And even in this tournament, he has won at least 2 matches as a batter.
Okay, I can go on and on, but both the gentlemen will have to leave for other commitments. लेकिन जाने से पहले एक ट्रम्प कार्ड सवाल आया है एक दर्शक की तरफ से. नाम उन्होंने नहीं दिया है, लेकिन उनका सवाल ये है कि
ये आपका होगा.
इंडिया हार जाता है तो क्या 2024 के चुनाव पे उसका कुछ असर पड़ेगा?
I think I'm expecting the entire cabinet or Prime Minister Modi there. Prime Minister Modi at the Narendra Modi Stadium giving trophy to victorious team. So again, these things will keep happening. सब तो चलेगा ही. उनका काम है इलेक्शन का कैंपेन करना, हमारा काम है खेलना, और हमारा काम है बोलना, अच्छा क्रिटिसिज्म करना, and that's all. Let the best team win. I always believe in this.
Sandeep?
Yeah, I'll just go back to 1982. We won the Cricket World Cup in 83, from where everything changed for cricket. 1982 Asian Games, Indira Gandhi was there when India played Pakistan in Delhi in the Asian Games final, and we know exactly what happened, the 7-1 scoreline for Pakistan. How much of it really affected Indira Gandhi politically, I don't know, but not much really happened at that point of time. So, yes, I mean, we can all speculate on Modi ji and the elections and all, but yes, there will be somehow some form of some retraction somewhere from the media probably looking at cricket in such a way. But yeah, politically थोड़ा बहुत तो affect करता है जब आपके प्रधानमंत्री वहाँ बैठे होते हैं और आपकी टीम 130,000 लोगों के सामने हार जाती है. But let's hope that those things don't happen, because sport is sport, and let's keep everything down to sport. And I really hope and believe that India is going to win the World Cup today.
And Arup, don't forget, we have also witnessed I have done a story. We have witnessed a scenario like this when, some political person becomes the president of a state association. He walks into a dressing room on the, on the morning of the match when the captain was getting ready to go for the toss. And he says, wait, I'm going there. He wears some, clothes, white clothes and all. He goes there, does the toss, plays a game because he wanted to be. He was to, be eligible for the National Selection Committee. So again, we have seen this kind of. But I hope Jasha doesn't do that. Just on a lighter note.
Okay, so it's a wrap, and like CS says, let the best team win. And Sandeep witnessed the 2003 ODI World Cup in Joburg between Australia and India, and we were badly savaged then. So let's hope India wins, and India has all the right combinations. Rohit Sharma is being praised to the skies by some very, very good former cricketers, and let's hope we get a great match. That's all we can hope for. And goodbye and good luck. Thank you to both of you and the viewers for your questions and for watching us. Thank you.